Put a little bit of the rub, nigga, I gotta be safe.
Let's get to sports talk.
Teams having strange seasons, but I'm not sure anyone's is as strange as the Brooklyn Nets. The Nets are basically spending this year suspended in amber. I mean, they just pulled off a spectacular free agency coup, besting their crosstown big brother to sign a player who could end up as top 10 all time. But because of his injury timeline, they won't even see him on the court until next year. And yet, in the meantime, it's not like they're really in player development mode, like, say, the Warriors, who, while they wait for Steph and Klay to come back, have one of the youngest teams in the league. No, the average age of the starting lineup the Nets put out there last night against the Pelicans, 26 and a half. Many of these guys are in their prime NBA years usually spent trying to build towards something bigger. Except in the Nets case, that something bigger is already predetermined and will look different enough from what's going on this year. It can be hard sometimes to even connect the two. And I haven't even gotten into the whole Kyrie situation. After playing Brooklyn's first 11 games, Kyrie has now missed their last 16 with a shoulder injury. And while no, the Nets are not a better team without him, they do right now have a better record without him, which could lead to some uncomfortable conversations down the road. Because Kyrie Irving is the Nets starting point guard, except also Spencer Dinwiddie has been flat out fantastic starting in his place. He's played aggressive, timely basketball, even through...
It's like this team been together. Some of the players are still on this team. They've been together from last year's team and teams before. Like, you got Allen, you got Dinwiddie, you got Harris, LeVert. He hurt right now. And hold on, let me make sure I miss someone. But you got them. They've been together for many years. So they chemistry already there. So, and they all still in their prime. So once they get KD back, once they had LeVert back, once they had Kyrie back, all of them back together, Brooklyn is going to be a top team in the East once all at full strength.
When a monster dunk over Tobias Harris the other night. Great reaction, guys, from his teammates on the bench. I mean, they got into it because Dinwiddie doesn't dunk that often, and the rest of the guys did give him a hard time afterward. Here was DeAndre Jordan in the locker room after that game. I haven't seen Spence dunk since he was at Colorado, so it was good to see that tonight. Spencer, he tries to save his athleticism for... well, I don't know what. His son was here too, so he got to see it. Hopefully he wasn't eating candy or something where he missed it. Joe Harris chimed in too, quote, Spencer's probably the most athletic guy in the NBA who doesn't use his athleticism. That got Dinwiddie going on social. He quote tweeted Harris with the line, dunking is a choice, Joe. Conscious choice. All joking aside, Coach Kenny Atkinson calls Dinwiddie the team's, quote, difference maker. And if you go back to that game against the Pels last night, you can see why. Despite often being checked by Drew Holiday, Dinwiddie spent the whole night attacking, pouring in 31 points. He was also the key figure in the game's strangest moment. This is the end of regulation. Team's tied. Dinwiddie heaves the shot. Doesn't go, right? Buzzer sounds. Everyone gets ready for overtime. Except, look at it again. The ball doesn't actually hit the rim at all. This should have been a shot clock violation, which would mean the Pelicans should have gotten an extra 3 seconds or so of regulation to steal the win, or at least try to. Alvin Gentry not happy, although honestly, considering how overtime did go for the Pelicans, I'm not sure those extra 3 seconds would have done very much. Brooklyn just dominated the OT and scored the win, which advanced their record to 15-12. That puts them in number 7 in the East, which I guess is good, although considering what Brooklyn has coming next year, it's hard sometimes to feel like any of this matters a ton either way.
It matters this year because all the injuries that they have on this team is 3 key pieces that's out right now. KD, LeVert, Kyrie. It matters because the other guys that already been around each other is stepping all the way up and just treating like last season. And they keeping it afloat to be in the playoff and be in the 7th seed. So it's a big matter for this season. Because next year it's going to be a different type of season for Brooklyn.
At least the Nets do look like they're having fun, which if you're going to be suspended in place, why not? All right, Paul, considering how well Spencer Dinwiddie has played in the absence of Kyrie Irving, how should the Nets manage the two when Kyrie comes back?
I think you got to play them both. And I really think Kyrie is a better player off the ball because Dinwiddie, he's been in the system already for a year. They were having fun last year. They made the playoffs, so they're really used to him being out there with that core group. Now, Kyrie played his best basketball with Cleveland when LeBron was the primary ball handler. So I look at him, they're like, Dinwiddie should be the guy who kind of like manages the game a little better. Not Kyrie's a better scorer than him, so put him at the 2 guard. I mean, I think it'll work well that way than Kyrie being the primary ball handling because, you know, he likes to go into his shake and bake. Guys are watching and everybody's not touching the ball, so I like him better at the 2 with Dinwiddie.
Good luck selling Kyrie on that one. That'll be a fun conversation.
I mean, wasn't part of his issue in Cleveland is he felt he wasn't allowed to.
Like, when he do come back, you should let Dinwiddie start with him. If a guy is hot and he playing well as a starter, start them both. Don't put him on the bench. I understand Kyrie is not going to like that, but at the same time, go ahead and do that. He played good enough to be a starter. And you shouldn't put him on the bench. Let them start together. And let Kyrie play off the ball.
Be
That's
the
where
point
they
guard that we
won.
want it to
That's
be.
where
While
he
leading
plays basketball.
in shots. They're both going to play a lot. I mean, I think you have to bring Dinwiddie off the bench. If Kyrie is guaranteed to start, Dinwiddie was coming off the bench, and maybe you cut Kyrie's minutes a little bit. You know, as you said in the opening, this season is kind of a placeholder season. Why play him 36, 37 minutes and let Dinwiddie run wild? By the way, he's making an all-star case. This is like he's having an unbelievable season. And I will say,
And yet you're saying send him back to the bench?
what do you if you play the two of them together, as Paul is hinting at, one of them on every possession is going to be a little bit marginalized and not sort of playing to the best of his ability. So, and by the way, the guy we're not even talking about is Karis LeVert, who also needs the ball and is also really young. So this is,
I think for chemistry-wise, Dinwiddie needs to be the primary ball handler. And then when Karis LeVert comes back, he could be your 6th man. But I do believe you have to play those 2 guys together with him the primary ball handler.
regardless, they're going to play together a lot, and they've been very good together when they've been on the floor this year. So who comes off the bench, who starts, whatever, they're going to play a lot.
They both gonna play a lot. But Kenny Atkins got to figure out what he's gonna do once LeVert come back, once Kyrie come back. He just got to figure out how he gonna do this. Because he had those 2 guys most of this season. So he need to figure out how he gonna do this with Dinwiddie, how he playing. And when Kyrie come back, you know he's a ball dominant guard. So you gotta figure out what you could do right there. And LeVert need to, that's what I'm saying, like he got a lot of things on his plate. Figure out once the 2 come back.
I didn't, it's going to be interesting.
So what happens if you bring Kyrie back, bring Dinwiddie to the bench, and then they're not having fun no more and they start losing games? Then there's going to be a lot of guys. That's when the chatter comes into the locker room where guys are talking behind each other's backs, and then the whole chemistry just gets thrown off. So we'll see what happens. If that happens, then it could be a long season for the Nets.
I mean,
It can be a long season because that guy's on fire, and then you put him on the bench because Kyrie came back, and then if they don't play well while he's back, it's gonna be eyes looking at the coach of why you do this. Our chemistry is well right now. It's just a lot of things I say he had to figure out. Kenny Atkins gonna have to figure things out once that come to it.
look, Harry has to come back for this to be an issue, and every week we think, okay, he's getting back into it, it could be soon. Every week we go by so far, we haven't seen it yet. We will obviously keep you guys posted. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights,